guys, my name is Lela Sophia. I am an artist and fine jewelry designer. If you like contemporary fine jewelry, if you like luxury handbags, all things interiors, and I have some fun videos for you. Today I am very excited to talk about something that I've seen talked about a lot. This is going to be delving into what I think Recession Core is, and for my own little spin on it, I happen to think that Anti-Trent is very much so worthy of being in the same conversation, so I'm really excited to share my thoughts. If you guys are new here, thank you so much for tuning in. I can't wait to see you in all of my future videos, so make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Lela Sophia Jewelry. So just to dive right into it, I've seen this talked about a lot, especially on TikTok and on Instagram. I truly saw kind of a flip happen when the most recent men's Gucci fashion show dropped, and everybody was like, oh my goodness, what is going on here? Especially when compared to Alessandro's Gucci, who Alessandro designed for Gucci for years, but he really gave color, pattern, texture, design, sometimes mismatching elements of pieces that were meant to be put together. There were a lot of elements that went into his Gucci. The new Gucci show, whether it be kind of an interim designer or the newest creative director, there was a very clear, toned down, muted, less busy, both in color, but also in styling. I think it's an interesting commentary on social media because this is nothing new, talking about what's happening in the world affecting the way that we dress, the way that we express ourselves, kind of dominating an era. Social media has made things go so fast and so quick, and it's hard to keep up. And I think that we've been kind of in this era, especially since the pandemic, where there was so much information kind of thrown at us at once, and same time as the rise of this like quicker era of social media. We're going away from Tumblr and the kind of original early years of Instagram where things were calmer and slower, and there was a lot of information still, but not thrown at you in 3 seconds. I'm still a Pinterest girl. I loved Tumblr. Those are still my kind of older millennial with it go-to platforms. TikTok can make things almost undigestible. It's fun, and I see how beneficial it can be, but I'm also like, in my weird artsy nerd self, I studied music and I studied art, and in music history especially, we learned that from fashion to music to design, all of those things, it's truly an artist's job to reflect the times. And so from the Renaissance era to the Baroque era to the Roaring 20s, all of these reflected what was happening in the world, whether it be good, bad, in between. And so the pandemic really did that, but at the same time, we were having this rise of intensely quick social media and also just so much access to people from everywhere in the entire world. And so there was so much kind of quick information that I think a lot of things were lost in translation. A prime, just kind of perfect example is going from this dopamine dressing when, you know, we're coming from a pandemic when everyone was wearing comfy clothes and sweatpants and whatnot and working from home. And I think people just got so tired of that. People started going out again, buying color, buying big kind of chunky pieces, maybe impractical pieces that you just loved and you wanted to put on. This was amazing, but I think that it kind of took an interesting turn when we're talking about something like Y2K is a really good example. Because yes, of course, trends are cyclical. I think they are also opposing. Like, there's no kind of gradual growth from trends going from like muting from dopamine dressing to recession core. That took about 2.5 seconds. it's a seesaw more so. It goes from one extreme to the next, and then to the next extreme, to the next extreme. It kind of like bounces around in a circle more so than like a straight line. So I digress. Going back to something like Y2K dressing, Y2K really did have a style though, and it was pretty, you know, stagnant for years. Brands like Juicy Couture and True Religion and Apple Bottom Jeans, Louis Vuitton, those I think of my entire middle school and high school career. UGG, Burberry, these brands were everywhere, and it didn't go anywhere. It was years long of people dressing and putting outfits together and wardrobes together with this style. The way that social media kind of makes it so accessible, it also can make it messy, and some people love that, and some people love the new Y2K style. I'm just honoring the fact that it's different. Now that we've gone in the opposite way, talking about recession core, right? Parts of the world are already in a recession, parts are going into one. There's that, okay, yes, we need to be saving more money. Not only that, but how can we kind of minimize our wardrobe? How can we minimize the pieces that we purchase, what we choose to spend our money on? And that is translating to more minimal styles. I already have done a video on minimal, kind of quiet luxury, old money aesthetic dressing. This is a way that I have personally dressed for the last decade. I have not changed a lot, and so I'm kind of an interesting perspective and might not be everybody's cup of tea, because once I found the way that I loved to dress so much, I was so happy, and it just calmed the chaos around me. When we're talking about something like minimal style being trendy, it's almost confusing for me. And I don't know, I have a lot of thoughts, but from a very subjective standpoint, I think we're essentially just looking at minimal style and anti-trend become more so in the forefront. Anti-trend and uniform dressing could potentially be very similar. So when talking about brands like one of my first very favorite brands that I'm getting more so into, La Mer. I've been studying some of their past recent runway shows. The muted tones, the browns we see, my whole room, everything. I'm obsessed with the color brown. I'm obsessed with the combo of brown and black these days. It's just so calming to me. I'm a Virgo, I'm an earth sign. Maybe that's why I haven't discovered this until the last couple years, but like truly there's something just so calming, so effortless about it. La Mer is one of those brands who I would absolutely check out for this kind of style dressing. The two designers, first of all, just put together their own such beautiful looks. I always love looking to a designer themselves because that is everything. The large croissant bag, I think might have to be one of my new bags. I'm terrible, but it's just, I think I really love it. If you're in New York City, go to Le Garçon. They have an amazing collection. Another brand is just an OG, and there's two brands that I'll talk about right now that I feel unqualified to talk about. Three. Jill Sander, Yohji Yamamoto, and Margiela. The three of them are just like, they're the OGs. They are some of the original minimal dressing gods. They're so incredible. Jill Sander, my mom, is just so fabulous and recently purchased an entire outfit from Jill for a wedding. And I was like, the shopping experience, the materials that they use, the incredible tailoring, and yet it still is all kind of so cohesive. So many pieces fit together with each other. And that is what I think a true kind of capsule, minimal, anti-trend wardrobe at its finest can be, is you have 5 shirts and 5 pants and a couple skirts and whatnot, and you can mix and match them all, and they all work together. Jill Sander does exactly that. Margiela, again, I feel truly unqualified to talk about Margiela because I know there are so many kind of people who study the archives and this is their world, but I can from afar be such a huge fan. It's so brilliant, it's so beautiful, and just in a very obvious, literal way, Martin Margiela's kind of first couple shows where he covered the models' faces, that's very much so Anti-Trent. That's very much so, I don't even want the humans to be shown in this show or highlighted. I want you to just focus on how beautifully the tailoring is, the layering is, kind of how everything falls. I love an oversized fit that fits perfectly. It sounds oxymoronic, but it's so beautiful. Margiela is up there. And Yohji, oh, I'm again just a fan. I know not as much as so many other people who study Yohji. Yohji Yamamoto, I have watched a lot of the older shows recently, and I'm like, this is the epitome of how, if I could fit into Yohji or Jill or any of these brands, quite frankly, sad that I can't, but I have a dear, dear client. I think you know who you are if you're watching, but they have just the most incredible collection of archival Yohji that they've purchased from Japan and from resellers. And the outfits that are put together, I'm like, yes, nothing can be better. It's so brilliant. I love this style. I love everything. Yohji's own philosophy, the interviews that I've watched, pieces that I've read on him, he just truly, you know, is very much so anti-fame and never really wanted to be a celebrity or be out there and just wanted to let his art speak for itself. And I truly think he's achieved that over his entire career. I'm a huge fan. Now, more modern brands like Kate and The Row. The Kate store just opened in New York. If you are here, go see it. It's so brilliant and each piece kind of fits with the next. The layering is so gorgeous. I think the tones that she has been coming out with, her bags are a minimal collector's dream. I love her so much. And then a brand like The Row, which we all know I'm fully in love with. The way that Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, I was kind of explaining this to someone earlier, talking about how, you know, it must have been a very interesting and probably fun at times, but also maybe chaotic way of growing up in the spotlight and truly always your entire life being a celebrity. In the early 2000s, they would walk out their house and the next day, girls would be dressing exactly like them. So I love the fact that they kind of went the exact opposite and they said, we're digging into the archives. We're studying the greats like Yohji, like Margiela. They studied those people and brought that into their own collection. A true capsule, minimal, anti-trend collector's dream. I have studied them so much and I feel like I need to even more, but again, the way that they dress, I think is just the epitome of kind of what I'm emulating in a way. I do it in a little bit of a different way, but if any of these designers made clothing in my size, I would pick and choose from each one, and The Row would probably be my biggest collection. A newer one, two newer ones, but a brand new one to me is Woo Young Mi. I need to do some more research on them because I just have watched a couple shows, seen a couple pieces, and this brand is gorgeous. Again, I love the tonality of it. I think that they're absolutely worth looking at if you're interested in dressing this way. Another brand that my brother, I think, has a brilliant mind and works in this industry. We'll do some videos together. It's adorable. We have complete opposite styles, and so I'm curious for you guys to hear his perspective. He showed me the brand Head Manor, and a couple years ago, I love them. The draping, the kind of chunky silhouettes that they use. Sometimes things are oversized, but in such a beautiful way. Definitely look up Head Manor. Of course, we can't talk about it yet because it's not even out yet. But Phoebe Philo is going to, I think, be a part of this category, obviously. her pieces for Celine, the way that she revived, in my opinion, Chloe before that, and the designers who studied under her and worked under her have brought their own perspectives to this world as well. Again, sadly, there's nothing to report on yet, but I am so excited for her collection because I truly feel like she is just going to emulate this style so well, but I think in a new and fresh way. Phoebe Philo's so brilliant. Well, that has been my kind of interesting take on what I think Recession Core or Anti-Trent is. I'm so curious to hear your thoughts, so make sure that you comment below, subscribe to my channel, and I can't wait to see you in all of my future videos. Bye guys.